Hey everybody, so in this video we're going to talk about sections. Sections, in addition to floor plans and elevations, make up sort of the three fundamental architectural drawings: plan, section, elevation. Sections are similar to floor plans in that they are typically cut through the building, but instead of it being a horizontal cut, it's actually a vertical cut. So while a floor plan will show you kind of what's happening from top level, from the vantage point overhead looking down with your building sliced through horizontally, section cuts go the other direction, and it's sort of as if you're standing in the building, kind of looking at the cut. So I'll illustrate that for you here and just sort of show you. So I'm going to show you I'm going to show you the section cut that we're going to make together. And then I'll show you how we're going to get that cut, not with any three-dimensional software, but just with the elevation and the plan that we already have in CAD. So if I go to, at least in SketchUp, go to my section plane, I'm just going to pop that in right here. And I'm going to move that. So here, for example, now let me, that's not what I'm looking for. There we go. Turn that off just so we can get a better sense of this. So this would be a vertical section cut through that first like level terrace there. So there I'm seeing, boy, all this stuff is cut through. So this is the part of the project that I'm actually slicing through, and then everything else I'm seeing in elevation beyond. So that's a great way to sort of describe what exactly is happening on this first floor. It shows that it's elevated above the ground plane, and it sort of shows everything that if you're on that level that you can see, at least in this direction. Now you would definitely want to look in this direction, because if you looked in the other direction, let me turn it off, there's really nothing to see there besides this wall. All the good stuff sort of is happening this way. So sections are super useful. So let me show you another one. I'm going to put one right here. Yeah, we can call it that. That's fine, SketchUp. And I'm going to move it in here. Now, you never would want to take a section cut, say like this, through a wall, because that isn't very descriptive. It's really not showing the space. What that sort of tells me is, oh, there's a solid chunk of something going the whole length, like going the whole width from like my screen, let's say, into the drawing. That's sort of what that says, but that's not the case, because that wall is really thin, and then it's more like this. There we go. So this is very descriptive because it's showing the space of the first level, the space of the second level, and the space of the third level. So a very descriptive sectional drawing. So that really describes the project very well, whereas this is confusing and doesn't really describe the project, at least spatially. So we can move this through and really get a sense of this section cut all the way through and all the interesting things that you can capture with section cuts. But what the main thing I want to explain to you is, how the heck do we draw one of these just from, say, elevation drawings? Now, I don't have three of them here, but I have one of them, and a site plan that we already have. So what I'm going to do to sort of start this, I'm going to make my section drawings down here. So the first thing I'm going to do is sort of copy all of my elevation drawings, and I'm going to bring them over. I'm going to bring them like one over and down, like something like this. Okay, you'll see why in a minute. Okay, so here are my elevation drawings. I'm going to bring down one floor plan. Okay, I'll bring that down right about here. Okay, so we're going to draw the section right here. And I have my floor plan positioned here, have my elevations positioned over here. Now, let's talk about what section we're going to draw. So let's draw a section that's cut right through this first level, similar to the first one I showed you in the SketchUp file. So what I want to do is put a section marker on there to sort of show exactly the area I want to cut through, so that it's clear to me where I'm cutting. Okay, so here's how I do it. Now, if I'm going to be cutting here, I want to be looking in this direction. If I'm going to be, I always want to position my drawing so that whatever the direction I'm looking is up. So I'm going to cut through here and look this way. This will help me construct my drawing. Okay, so let's put a marker on here that says, yeah, you're cut right here. Okay, so I'm going to go up to my symbols library here. So we already talked about this one, which we'll use for our sections. We talked about this one, which we use for our elevations. And now we're going to talk about building sections, which is this one right here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. I'm going to bring that down and position it, say, right here. Well, let's see what our controls are. Let's see what this does. That's very useful, so we can move the arrows around. So first thing I'm going to do is actually mirror this that way. Hit yes. There, that looks better already. Now I'll just move this down a little bit, and then I'm just going to use my wonderful stretch command. Two ways you could move these. I could take this down to about here, and then I could grab this and move that, but let me show you an easier way. Stretch command. S, enter. I'm going to make a square from the bottom right to the upper left. Click, hit enter, and now I'm just going to move this whole piece down. S, enter, bottom right, upper left, enter. Click anywhere, move that down. So what this is telling me that I'm going to make a section cut right at this line through the building, and I'm looking up. I'm looking in this direction. Okay. Now, this is just to help me right now. In nowhere in my drawing set is this drawing referenced. This one is. So I'm going to have to transfer this section cut symbol up here later. But let's just draw the section first. Okay. So let's use construction lines first. So here's a good way to, let's just draw the section cut. Okay, so if I'm coming along here, I'm at the ground plane. Then I come here and I hit a step. So I come up 6 inches, come over, come up 6 inches, come over, come up 6 inches, come over, come up 6 inches. I'm on level 1 and then down in the same way. Okay, so here's how I'm going to set that up. I'm just going to keep my layer on 0 for now. Okay, we don't need to set it to a cut line yet. Let's just get the geometry in there. So I'm going to draw a ground plane that's equal to my elevations over there. Okay, now first things first is I'm going to draw where this first step is. I'm going to draw that straight down till I hit my land, and then I'm going to copy it over for each stair there. Another way to think about it is, in fact, let me do it that way. Just put it right, draw it right from where the section cut actually resides on your geometry. I'm going to just bring these down. Okay, so I know that I have to, the ground comes over, then I go up 6 inches, over, up 6 inches, over, up 6 inches, over, up 6 inches. I'm at level 1. So how high is level 1? Now I know from the PDF sheet here, it's 2 feet high. Or I can just use my elevation drawing. I know that this is level 1, so I know that I have to come up to this level. Okay, so now I'm just gonna draw my stairs in. Okay, so I'm gonna do a polyline. I'm gonna go up 6 inches, over 12, up 6 inches, over 12, up 6 inches, over 12, and up. And now I'm at level 2. So I have drawn these steps in. I'm going to go ahead, delete those lines. Okay, now I can do the same thing over here. Now here's a trick. These stairs and these stairs match, right? So I could say, I'm going to just draw a line right here, and I'm going to grab these stairs and I'm going to mirror them about that line and click. So now I'm going to match these stairs to that initial line I drew. And look at that. I have my cut line, actually my entire cut line going through the structure right there. So what I'm going to do is put this on a darker line weight. I'm going to put it on 1. Now, how do we handle the earth, right? Because this wants to be on 1 too, 1 as well. So this isn't quite drawn correctly. Okay, so we want to think of the cut line as, oh, I'm cutting through the earth. I'm going up the stairs, come back downstairs, cutting through the earth. So we don't want to show this line in between. So I'm going to trim that out. Okay, and now I'm going to sort of shorten these up. In fact, I'm just going to delete them on either side, and then I'm going to redraw them at about 5 feet each. So this is the extent of our cut line. Okay, so the drawing's not done. The section part of the drawing is done. I'm cut through there, but now I have to add all the other information back here, which is in elevation. So why don't we do that? Okay, first is this structure right here. Now I know it's this tall over here. So if I draw a line from the roof over, and then I can draw a line from here down, and from this corner down. Okay, and now I will square this off. Okay, not bad. We sort of kind of have that blocked in. Definitely not done with it, but it's blocked in. Okay, so now back here, I know that these stairs go up 6 inches, 6 inches, 6 inches, 6 inches. So I know that that lives from this line over to this line. So I'm going to start by drawing a line right on top of this line to here, and then I'm just going to grab it and move it up 6 inches. Okay, so there's my first step. And now I'm going to offset it 6 inches. Offset it again 6 inches. And then, so 1, 2, 3, we're up. So 1, 2, 3, one more. There. Now this is level 2. Okay, so these are the steps in elevation going up to level 2. Now I know, if I can get rid of this and get rid of that, I know that right here, this railing is 3 feet high, and it goes up to 3 feet high above this level. So if I draw a line, let me just draw a line, a construction line down. This line is going to go up 3 feet. It's going to come over the width of that wall. So let me just draw it all the way over, and then I'll grab this line because this is the width of the wall to there. Is that right? Yep. Go like this. I'll trim it out. Okay, so what I'm looking at right here is this face right here. And now we have to draw this in elevation up to that point. I know that this is 3 feet above this level. So if I go offset 3 feet above this level, then I know that this has to go up to there, over to there, and down to there. Okay, so flat face angles up to the top of the railing. So I can just double check from here to here, 3 feet. Okay, now that railing goes across the back and then it starts angling up at this point. But let's just get the line in that goes across the back. But now I have to draw a vertical line where it starts angling up to the top level. Now this is going to be a little tricky. So if I bring this down, okay, I know that this is 2 feet off the ground, 4 feet off the ground, 6 feet off the ground. Top of the railing is 9 feet off the ground because 6 plus 3 feet is 9 feet. So this line right here, if I draw that down, right at this point is 9 feet from ground plane. So if I drew a line over for the ground plane, and we'll erase that later, and drew a line straight up from here to 9 feet, and I'll delete this longer line, I know that the railing then angles up from here, angles up to there, and then goes straight again. Okay, so I have that part there. Now I'm just going to trim it out, get rid of all that there and there. Okay, almost done. Almost done, except we got to put the detail in over here. Now, is this the right height? Let's double check. Yeah, this should be, yep, 12.6 plus 2 is 14.6, which is the height of that. Now, if I look at my 3D drawing, I see I have that gap here and a seam. So this gap runs 6 inches high, and it runs from this angled piece over. Go back in there. Oops, wrong file. Here we are. So I know I need to come down from this angled piece like that, and I need to offset this 6 inches. But that offset needs to end here. In there, so because I want that seam in there. So that's actually right here. This is done. This is drawn correctly. Now what we have to do is sort of get in the rest of this information. Let's look at what we know. It's 6 inches here, angles down to 1 foot from the top here, and this wall's 3 feet wide. Tells me a lot already. So I can get that in right away. So I could go back over here, could offset 3 feet. I could offset 1 foot, and I could offset 6 inches. Okay, now let me show you something else though. I haven't gotten what I wanted in yet, but I could have just as well say offset that first line 3 feet, could come over here and say, oh, okay, so here is the 6-inch face of that roof. I can bring that over. And here it slopes down to the 1 foot depth, and I could bring that over. The point I'm trying to make is everything we need is really in CAD here. I don't necessarily need to go back to here. I could look at my elevation of this west elevation, and I would know how wide that wall is. I would know this angle and all that. I could sort of copy that information over to the section. But it's also good to just sort of make it from scratch. Okay, I know I'm jumping around a lot, but this is how it is. So you'll get used to it. So this is 6 inches. So I'm going to go 6 inches down to 1 foot. And now I can delete these two, and now I have that angle. Okay. I know that level 2 is at 4 feet. Level 3 is at 6 feet. So I'm going to offset level 2, or better yet, I'm going to go over to my drawing here. Go over to here because this is level 3. Bring that over. Bring my gap over. And bring my railing height over. And now I can trim this up. I don't need this. I don't need that or those. And I need this to read as a gap. Bring this back down. So that's already looking better, right? So we're getting there. So let me go back to my PDF. And it looks like I'm pretty much done with that side. So I have that all drawn correctly. So I have the level 3 there. I have the railing. I have the gap. I have the angled roof. All of that is there. Now, if you finished your elevations first, like I said, this elevation in the section is just about done for you because it would be living over here. So you could sort of grab that line work and bring it over, and you have everything you need. So there's one last thing I want to do to this. Well, two. First is I want to make sure my line weights are reading properly. So what I would do is change this one. Let me, because this one's close to us right here. So I'll put that at 2. And I will put the outline of this at 2. And I would actually trim this up and then do, oop, that was poorly done. Okay, make this go, that's a seam. Make this go to here, go to here, put all this at 2, put these at 2, connect them here. This will be a 2. Now this line right here and this line right here are seams. So these would be a 4. Oops, phone ringing. That's a 4, and this is a 4. And then all this stuff way in the back, I'll put that at a 4 as well. Okay, now I might want to hatch whatever it is I have in elevation, just like I did this. I can do that. But I also want to add my section hatch. So I'm going to make a new layer, and I'm going to call this section hatch. And I think I'm just going to leave it as default here for now. Okay. Now here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to my no print layer that I've made previously, and I'm just going to make a line that goes down about 2 feet all the way over to here, 2 feet and up. I need a space in here to put my section hatch. That's all I'm doing there. I can't just click here and get a hatch in there because it's open to the whole drawing. So I'm going to do hatch. I'm going to pick that angle. Now I might do it at, we can do it as solid. Okay, and now if I select that, I'm going to put it on my section hatch. And I'm going to go to layer properties. Let me just get in there once. And maybe I'll make this one, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to leave it as is, default, and I'm going to change my section hatch to ANS 131, and I'll increase my, see, that looks pretty good, my scale of my hatch to about 15. That looks pretty nice right there. So if this I can send to the back. Okay. And now I'll just hatch in the rest of my drawing here with a solid hatch like I did for my elevation. So I'll go to hatch, I'll go to H, and I will, remember there's a gap there. And put that there. And put this on, already is on hatch, but I want to make sure this hatch is sent to the back. So I'll go to home, modify, send to back. Okay, now that is a beautiful section drawing. Of course, I'm going to have to test print this and make sure it really reads nice. What should read the darkest is, of course, your dark cut line weight, and then like kind of this hatch. But I don't want that hatch to compete with the line weights. Okay, the hatch is just supposed to add clarity and try to be as clear as you can so that when I look at this, it's clear. But this looks really nice. So this is sections are basically a combination of a cut, a vertical cut, and elevation in the background. So here's my vertical cut and my elevation in the background. So to sort of kind of wrap this part up, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a new sheet. I'm going to delete this layout too. All right, and I'm going to copy A200. I'm going to say move or copy. I'm going to say move to the end, create a copy, and I'm going to rename this A300. Okay, now instead of my two elevations here, I'm going to delete this bottom viewport. I'm going to put my section here. So let me go in here. I'm going to zoom out, come down to my section. Okay, that looks about right. And now I'm going to go back into Paperspace, grab my viewport, and I'm going to put the scale at 1/4 inch so it matches everything else. Let's see here, region. There we go. So that looks good. Now don't forget that this line down here won't print because it's a no print layer, but you can always just delete it after you're done getting your hatch in. So we kind of want to give the impression that the land sort of continues on forever, right? Because this land does continue on forever. Oops. Oh, you know what I did? I changed A200, not A300. So what I'm going to do is just move this one over, and I'm going to rename this one A301, and then I'm going to rename this one back to A200, and now I'll rename this one A300. Okay, so just mindful when you move things around and copy them, make sure you're not adjusting what you originally started with, which is what I just did. So now my A300 is my section cut, but as you can see, I don't have a drawing title under there. So I'm going to do the same thing I did for my elevations up here. I'll grab a drawing title, copy it down, and I'll put it right here, roughly in the same location. I like to sort of line these up to wherever the left of my drawing is. So I'll put a line down like this, and then I'll move this in line. So this will be my, so what are we going to call this section? So this is running a north-south section. So it's going a cut from north to south or south to north, however you want to say it. So I'll call this north-south section. And the scale's good. Okay, so on my A300, this is looking good. It's set up nice. And then I can do another section down here. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is go to my A100, and I want to make sure that my section cut is on here, because right now it's not on here. If you recall, I brought it down and put it here, but this is the one that's referenced on the sheet, right? I'm just using this just to help me kind of understand the section. So now that I have one drawn, what I'll do is probably move this over, and then I'll adjust this as need be. Now, and make another one. Now, remember what I said. You want to have your cut go left to right and pointing up in the direction you're looking for where you want to draw it. So if I asked you to draw a section, say somewhere here or over here, if you cut one here, you want to look that way. So I would rotate this whole plan counterclockwise 90 degrees and then position my marker on it just so it's visual and I know it's there. But let's go ahead and move this up to here. Okay, so now I need to rotate this 90 degrees. Okay, now I noticed something else that happened. All right, so I'm going to move this over. Okay, so this is about where we put, I'm going to try to position it right in the middle there, somewhere like that. Okay. Now, these look goofy, right? They're not, the arrow's pointing right, but the number's not right. So what I want to do is rotate this 90. Actually, we want the page number on the bottom. So, okay, we want it to look like these other ones. So we're going to have to mess with it a little bit. First off, I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees straight up. Okay. And then I'm going to move my arrow back over here. Okay. And now I'm going to mirror it from the middle and delete my original. Okay. So now I have the page number on the bottom and the detail number on the top. You want all these bubbles to sort of be in the same orientation. The arrows can move around, but you want it always to read detail, drawing number, page number. So this section is going to be 1 on A300. Okay, now we can delete this one, and then we can just copy this one down. There we go. And now, just for clarity, I'm just going to go back to that site plan, and I'm just going to move these over because these are just to help. They're not meant to. Okay, move that up. They're not going to print. Okay, I'm going to hit save. Come back over to my elevation sections page, reload it. They're out of the way. And now if I go to my A100, I can move my viewport in a little bit just to not see those. Remember, your viewport won't print either, but the contents will. So this is looking pretty good. I would say I definitely want to move this up a little bit. There. So if I want to look at this section, now I have to go to drawing 1 on A300. So I go to A300. There it is, my north-south section, drawing 1. That's looking really, really nice. So for your assignment, you're going to be asked to draw 2 more sections. So not only do you have to update all the elevations with the design changes, you do have to draw 2 additional sections. Now, let me just tell you the best place to take the sections, in my humble opinion, would be, I'll do it in the 3D view. I would take one right here, looking to the right, so right along this staircase, and then I would take one right here, looking in this direction. That would be very descriptive, because then you're going to have your sections, you're going to have a section from level 1, if you copy what I've done, you're going to have one for level 2 and one for level 3. Now, for your final drawings, you don't have to recreate the one I did, but if you did it with me on this drawing, you have it. Otherwise, so if you do have it, you're going to have an A301, which will have your final section. So you can do 2 sections on this sheet and then 1 on A301. So by the end of this assignment, you're going to have A100 with this drawing on it, but this drawing needs a drawing title. So I'm definitely going to want to add that in, and I can do that by grabbing this, copy this up, and I can call that site plan, and it's a 1/4 inch as well. So we have this drawing, your site plan, with all the section markers in it. So if you're going to have one going this way, it's going to be pointed down, but your number, page number, and stuff should all be in this orientation, but the arrows will be pointed down. If you have one right here, you will have one right here. It'll be over here, pointed that way, with your page number and detail number all in same orientation, just like I just said. But A200 will be elevation sheet 1. A201 will be your 2 other elevations. So here's your south elevation, your west elevation, and then you'll do your other 2. And then A300 is the first section. Hopefully you'll do this one with me during this lecture, and then you'll do another one here. And then on A301, you'll do another one. So you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 PDFs when you're done. Okay, and then I'm going to do one more video showing you how to combine PDFs. Okay? All right. Thanks, guys.